The need in Tennessee is really very significant. There are, as you can see, 129,330. I'm sure there's more than that at this point. Tennesseans living at or just above the poverty level. That was in 2012, and I imagine that the numbers are going up. In short, really 1 out of every 5 Tennesseans cannot afford to pay for even basically legal assistance. You all know about Gideon v. Wainwright, and you know that people who are accused of criminal offenses have the right to counsel. But that's not true in the civil area. So we have a different standard for whether people are eligible for civil legal aid. That standard is people who earn less than 125% of the federal poverty level. And to translate that in terms that you can understand, if you think of someone who earns less than $14,000 a year, that person is going to be eligible for civil legal services. So anyone who makes $14,500 a year is not eligible for civil legal services. And as you can imagine, someone who makes $15,000 or $14,000 a year probably can't afford to pay for basic civil legal needs either. What are our resources out there for these people who are eligible for civil legal services? We have 1 legal aid staff attorney for every 14,000, and I'm not doing this, am I? I can't do it without looking at it. Okay. All right. So we have 1 legal aid staff attorney for every 14,000 eligible people, and we only have 25 legal aid offices serving the 95 counties. Our legal service organizations are the Tennessee Alliance for Legal Services, which is our umbrella organization. We have the Legal Aid of East Tennessee, Legal Aid of Middle Tennessee and the Cumberlands, Memphis Area Legal Services, and the West Tennessee Legal Services, who are LSC-funded organizations. Into that mix, and we obviously came to this party at a fairly late date in 2007, we had a strategic planning session and decided that access to justice was going to be our number 1 strategic priority for that year and for the years to come. We decided that we were going to do some things that were a little different. First thing that we did was call a press conference, and we didn't tell anybody what we were going to talk about at the press conference. So we got a whole lot of people coming to the press conference, and we got some good coverage. They were all afraid that we were going to do something to them, so everybody came to see what we were going to do. So the announcement of our initiative was in December of 2008. And that's, we did it in the historic Supreme Court room, and it was very well attended, as I said. From January to April of 2009, we had 5 public meetings throughout the state, and each one of those meetings was chaired by 1 justice. I went to all of them, even the ones that I was not chairing, just to make sure I really got a feel for what people were saying all across the state about the need for access to justice or equal access to justice in Tennessee. In 2009, we announced the formation of the Access to Justice Commission, and we introduced the commissioners that we had chosen. We had a very small commission by our standards, 10 people, and then we empowered them to have committees and subcommittees under them, which was really the first time we'd ever done something like that. We tasked them with creating a strategic plan to educate the public, to identify priorities, and to recommend projects and programs to enhance access to justice. As I said, we have 10 commissioners. At this time, we have 5 committees, and those are the committees that we have right now. They're down from, I think, 7 or 8. And then we allow them to actually have subcommittees and work groups under them that we don't appoint the people who they choose. And this is the basic work gets done at the committee and subcommittee level. We hired Access to Justice coordinator in 2008. And again, this was before we created the Access to Justice Commission. And her position was to staff the Access to Justice Initiative and the Commission. At the time that we did that, we were the only commission in the country that had its own Access to Justice coordinator that was dedicated to simply access to justice issues. And we added a pro bono coordinator in 2012, and it largely was fueled by the effort, the Tennessee Faith and Justice Alliance effort, and the decision that we were going to put a greater emphasis on pro bono going forward. And the pro bono coordinator is required to develop a statewide database of existing pro bono resources, identify parts of the state where pro bono resources are scarce, and to conduct outreach to faith-based institutions, bar associations, local attorneys, and the judiciary. Our Access to Justice goal, or one of our Access to Justice goals very simply, is to have more lawyers and law students providing pro bono legal services.